it's a game changer. You're onto something here. So an example I can think of is somebody was looking to buy a house in Calgary and weren't quite sure if they would be able to do it based on the income and the income that they had. And so by going through the process, meeting with the planner, understanding what their financial future could look like, it actually made that dream a reality. And so if you can have that kind of impact through this kind of product offering, and it's actually tied to you as an employer, that's a pretty strong statement that you make and a pretty amazing experience that you're giving your team members. Well, Invest Alberta is really just set up to attract investment into the province. So we're an economic development agency seeking out companies that are interested in growing or building their company in the province and ultimately creating jobs for Albertans. And we know that finances have a big part to play on people's lives and their well-being. And so if we can play some small part in helping them be better at those things, then we wanted to do that. And so that's why we partnered with ElektraFi to help us bring that to the forefront. Onboarding was great. I mean, we were able to partner with your team to really hammer the message home around financial well-being and help people understand the why. The fact that your team was willing to partner in some of those presentations and communications, I think was really key. To have people from your team that are actually doing the day-to-day and helping out our team members was really important, that you could put a face to a name. So overall, I think it was simple. It was seamless. People got it. They understood it. We did an education session with all of our staff. We recorded it. And now that's available for all our staff to use going forward. The uptake was actually quite good. We had a number of people that were asking questions right off the bat. You know, could I get access to this kind of information, employment information, benefits costs, for example, that we could then input into the tool so that they had the full picture. Yeah, from my HR perspective, there was minimal time commitment, I think, that we had to put to the onboarding experience. Again, this partnering approach was really important. You kind of took on the education aspects, bringing people up to speed, helping to understand the why. I think where we probably spent the most time was making sure that we were aligned on the messaging that we wanted to give employees. But ultimately, it was you guys that delivered the message to the staff. And yeah, I was just a partner in the background, hearing the story that you had to tell. The one that stands out in my mind is this like all-encompassing type of approach to financial well-being. So the ability for you to take all of your personal information and plug it into a tool that would try and make sense of it, and then spit out a recommendation really at the end of it that could be extremely useful for people to use in their financial aspects going forward. So that's number one. I would say number two, access to the CFP, to a financial planner, was huge. Not a lot of people get that opportunity, or if they do, it's being pushed through a bank or some other salesy kind of individual. We don't have that with ElektraFi at all. Again, it's an offering that people can take up if they'd like to. They don't have to. And so I think that's maybe the other thing about this is it's just another tool in the toolbox that's ultimately going to help people reduce their stress, show up to work in a much better mindset, and be able to contribute more effectively. But I think it's this continuous innovation approach. Like, how do we help employees in a different way? So if we think through the total comp and rewards module that's being implemented, like that's going to have a major impact, because now the communication with our team members will be different. They'll understand what their full financial picture looks like at Invest Alberta. We can use that as a reinforcement to say, if you continue to stay with us, or if you join us, these are the things that you can take part in. Being able to present that in a simple, intuitive, easy way is going to allow us to hire people, I think, a lot easier, at least paint that picture for them. So there reduces all that questions that people might have. It also can serve as a sales tool for us, trying to get people to join the company, right? If you can present that. So they actually know what they're signing on through on that. So we even just had a call this past week, presented the version of the TCR module. It looks fantastic, but I think what stood out in my mind is, like, I'm not asking where things are at. ElektraFi is coming to say, here's where we're at, and here's the things that you talked about, and here's how we're delivering.